Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. The report on the strategic review of Petrojam is now complete. At the height of turmoil at the state-run oil refinery, Prime Minister Andrew Holness appointed a strategic review headed by businessman Christopher Zaka. Permanent Secretary in the Energy Ministry Carol Palmer says she was informed of the development last week.
The report has been received by the Zaka Committee, that's the Strategic Review Committee, from the consultants, and it has been accepted. So we now await the handing over of that report to the government of Jamaica, whether through the ministry or through the Cabinet Office. And then when it comes to the Ministry of Science, Energy and Technology, we'll take it from there.
The review is expected to inform future decisions on Petrojam. There are questions about whether the government will continue to operate the facility as a refinery following a valuation report for the company. That $34 million valuation was based on the assumption that the refinery operations would cease at the end of this year and 70% of workers sent home. However, the government says it has made no decision to close the refinery. Human trafficking continues to be a global problem, but one school in Portland is making strides by developing an anti-human trafficking club. TVJ's O'Shane Masters has details.
The club was developed by the students who got the idea after they participated in a human trafficking seminar. They then proposed the idea to their guidance counselors, who assisted the students with developing the club. This is the first anti-human trafficking club in Jamaica, and they want to get more schools involved.
We don't want it just to be Port Antonio High. Even though we started it, we want it to be in other schools so that we can have an avenue and a channel for everybody to communicate so that we can stamp down on this.
The Anti-Human Trafficking Club helps students identify the traits of human traffickers and empowers them to inform others about the problem.
Our community members and school members don't really know what is happening to our young people of Jamaica, and being one of the first schools to come up with this idea to create a club, it says a lot that as young people we can become ambassadors for change, and we see that it is a great need for our young people to be aware of what is happening to them in society.
Teacher and staff advisor for Anti-Human Trafficking Club, Karine Grant, says based on certain circumstances, youths become vulnerable to human trafficking. She adds that the club helps them to be aware of the environment and helps prevent her students from becoming victims of human trafficking.
Is to get community members involved and make them aware so that we can channel each other. We can use each other as, what you'll call it now, like an avenue. So everybody's looking out for everybody. So then we can definitely strap down on this modern day slavery.
Our students here at Port Antonio is encouraging other students who are falling into different behavioral pattern and so that they can be aware of the situation among what is happening in our country.
Yes, they have, and they have been sharing it with members of the community and other students as well. And that's a good thing because they're able to share with their families and other members of their communities.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
One senior police officer is pointing to police youth clubs as a tool to help young girls develop. ACP Elon Powell encouraged girls of Bishop Gibson High not to lose hope. His comments follow a rise in crime and violence in Manchester.
At a time when our youngsters are facing tremendous challenges, I believe that there's an absence of role models in our society, or positive role models, somebody who you can look up to. There's also, I believe, a confusion in your own minds, the minds of the young people, as to what is right or what is wrong. The police ought to be an institution that embraces what is right and not what is wrong. And even though we have bad eggs in the JCF, I believe that the JCF is an organization of good. As bad as we are, as bad as things are with crime and disorder in this country, if we'd never had a police force, I can't imagine what it would be.
ACP Powell was speaking at the recent launch of the 2nd Police Youth Club in Manchester. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson says the St. Elizabeth Police will be meeting with the taxi operators to improve relations. He is also hoping to improve law and order in towns like Junction, where a spate of robberies has been causing concerns. At the anti-crime meeting on Friday, a taxi operator explained there was little trust for the police.
They don't search the people with one thing or so. Then just stop the light or pick up as a passenger and pull you over, write your ticket, you know, for the time to know it, go here, don't know what the purpose and what's happening at the tower, if you look for the passenger go here. And what is that? If you see my go here, then no matter who, you carry around the car.
And we have to create an orderly environment, no matter what. If it's chaotic, then people put you at risk as well. Because people can also attack you, rob you, whatever. We just don't want an environment where people can, with bad intentions, can operate freely because they blend in.
And it's time for a break. We'll have more stories right after these messages. Welcome back, and we're continuing the news. As the government continues its drive to reduce the amount of plastics, at least one community is putting plastic bottles to good use. Farmers in the Industry Pen Agro Park in Three Hills, St. Mary established a greenhouse with its own drip irrigation system. Minister without portfolio in the Economic and Job Creation Ministry, Daryl Vaz, called for similar projects.
This one project represents over 48,000 plastic bottles that would have been in the gutters, in the drains, or in the sea. And this project has taken 48,000 bottles out of the environment. So can you imagine what would happen if every community would be as active and sensitive environmentally like this?
Mr. Vaz issued this charge.
So I encourage every community, do your part. Everybody has a part to play, and we'll have a much better environmental situation in Jamaica.
The Member of Parliament for Portland Western says he'll be taking this project to his constituency to also establish greenhouses. One man is dead and another homeless after a fire in Barton, St. Elizabeth yesterday. According to reports, 42-year-old Paul Thompson was alone when a fire started around 2:30 in the afternoon. His remains were found lying in the hall by firefighters after the fire was extinguished. Mr. Thompson's roommate, Mark Arnold, was on his farm when the fire occurred.
I leave him this morning and go, and I get the news say the house catch a fire. Yeah, so I don't really know what happened. When I come see the house on the fire. And him lie down on the ground.
It actually burn out.
Burn out, yeah.
In news overseas, the man who gunned down 12 people at a Virginia Beach office on Friday had reportedly resigned from his job the morning of the attack. There are questions about why a veteran city engineer targeted people he had worked with for years. Details from the CNN.
Memorial services were held around Virginia Beach this weekend for the 12 people who lost their lives Friday.
We know at least 8 of the victims. They used to come here all the time, having a lunch with us. They are very sweet people, they are nice people.
Virginia Beach police were scheduled to hold a free community workshop on mass shootings on Saturday. The shooting happened Friday, creating confusion for some.
We passed by a gentleman that was carrying a gun in his hand, but it looked so theatrical because of the extended magazine and the suppressor that was on the end of it. He never looked at me. I mean, he glanced at me, but he never raised the gun at me to shoot me. I thought he was playing the part of an active shooter for our drill.
Police say the city engineer who opened fire at a municipal building was not disgruntled, as had been previously reported. Earlier in the day, the 40-year-old sent a resignation email to his boss. When asked why, he said it was for personal reasons.
And in sports, defending champions Golden State Warriors have leveled their series against the Toronto Raptors in the NBA Finals after a 109-104 win on Sunday. Klay Thompson led the way for the Warriors with 25 points, 5 rebounds and 5 assists. Game 3 and 4 in the series will be played at the Oracle Arena in California. Game 3 will tip off on Wednesday. And at sports time, England reached 248 for 5 after 39 overs, chasing a target of 349 for victory against Pakistan in Game 6 of the 2019 Cricket World Cup in Nottingham. Batting first, Pakistan posted 348 for 8 from their 50 overs, with Mohammad Hafiz top scoring with 84. Babar Azam and Safraz Ahmed also chipped in with half centuries. Moeen Ali and Chris Wokes took 3 wickets each for the English. The host nation England are hoping to secure back-to-back wins after opening the tournament with a result over South Africa, while Pakistan lost their opening game to the West Indies on Friday. The competition continues on Tuesday, where Afghanistan plays Sri Lanka in Cardiff. And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.